Mario Golf at Toadstool Tour and Bluekandy. Bluekandy, take it away.
Thank you, Yo. Hi, friends. I'm Bluekandy. Um, Welcome to the start of the mini Camelot block of GDQ. I'll be running Mario Golf Toadstool Tour any percent for the Nintendo GameCube, and joining me are my two commentators, DavidPiano and Jonesy. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm DavidPiano.
Hey, I'm Jonesy.
Thank you. They'll be helping me commentate during the run. Fine, lads. So we'll be doing any percent today. That means we'll be playing through the 6 tournaments. We have to win all 6 in order to unlock the credits after Bowser Badlands. We're using the Japanese version because it is a more refined version of the game. It'll save time and loading lag between each hole on the courses. And so for you guys, everyone watching GDQ, this will be your favorite part of the run. We use Waluigi for the first 30 odd minutes of the run, so you will get to enjoy the Wa. Please enjoy responsibly. So, without further ado, I will start the any percent run. And I'll give you a countdown, sorry. Alright, so in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, coming into the first course. Black 2 Valley. This course has a cutoff of +6, and in golf, the higher your score, the worse it is, so we just need to tie or better that, and there should be no problems here, but that will give me plenty of time to explain what I'm doing. So to begin with, the shot is the most important thing for you guys to understand. I'm doing manual shots every time I can. And what that means is I set my power frame perfectly with a B press instead of an A press. So I press A to start, B, and then I end my shot. And what manual shots allow us to do are to time shot on the way back, which is also frame perfect. And then also, we can add a custom spin on the end of the shot. This allows us a lot more control of every shot that we do, but at the cost of needing extra precision and being able to hit 2 frame perfect inputs. And this is a 60 frame per second game, so it is no easy feat. So, the next thing I like to talk about is that, well, dude,
Hole in one. Let's go.
Nice.
I'm actually Actually, that was planned. I'll tell you why in a bit. But first, we need to understand the shot still. So on the way back, after you set the power, I'm trying to hit the sweet spot, which is right underneath that, where it says super topspin there, right in the middle. I'm going for that. This is another planned shot, by the way, but it's still really epic. Let's go. I'm popping off.
Oh, it again.
So, if I miss the sweet spot, frame perfectly, 60 frames per second, 16 milliseconds to time that thing. If it's an early miss hit, we call that a slice. What that does for a right-handed golfer is it makes the shot go higher and also deviate to the right compared to the simulation line, which is what you see pop up every time before I take a shot. On the alternative, if you hit late past the sweet spot, it is called a hook, and it makes your shot go lower than expected and also deviate to the left. So, with that in mind, I can actually use those to my advantage depending on what happens in my shot. If I want to actually go further to the right or further to the left, I have those available to me, as well as the spins. So now that you've got both of those down, let's talk about the impact point. The impact point, if you direct your attention to the bottom right corner of the screen on the next hole, because there is no impact point while we putt. The impact point is basically what part of the ball am I hitting. And I want to hit the top of the ball every time I take a shot because that is much faster than just hitting the center. So I'm going to aim for the top of the ball whenever possible. And in real golf, that's called a topspin. But we have our own form of topspin on this game, rather. So there's both natural and artificial topspin. And when you have topspin on your ball, it's harder to control. There's more forward momentum when you land, so Yes, dude. This is so cool. Watch what's happening on your screen right now. Can you believe it?
You got it. Yes.
Awesome shot.
Thank goodness. There's actually only 2 places in the game that we can do that currently, so I'm really happy. We call that a dunk, when it just goes in the hole without touching the ground. That is a really cool strat to get. I'm super happy with that. You know, if that was cool to you, why not just drop a 20 real quick? I'll drop a 20 for every single strat that I get. I'll talk about strats in a moment. So that's already $60 for me. Try to match me, Chad. I dare you. Let's go. Alright, so that impact point in the bottom right corner, I can hit any part of the ball I want, and that's additional control on my shot that I have. You have to hold the control stick while the shot meter is moving in order to utilize the impact point. You can use the D-pad before you start your shot to see what that would look like. The D-pad alters the simulation line, but does not actually alter your shot unless you hold the control stick during it. Good to know for the casuals. Okay, and then all of those things together at a 60 frame per second, frame perfect accuracy, 2 times each shot is what I'm working with when I'm improvising at all times, and also just reacting to everything the game throws at me. We call that distance control, and it is by far the most pivotal thing for new and experienced runners to master. So distance control is pretty cool. So let's talk about those strats that I did. Strategies, strats short for strategies, are double or quadruple frame perfect shots. Are inputs for a shot in order to get consistent holes in 1 or eagles on the par 4s. We don't have any strats for par 5s, so don't worry about that. So real quick here, I'll be giving up a hole. This is just giving up a hole. I already know the cutoff is +6, so I can just give this up for a triple par penalty, and I'll explain more about that in a second. So about those strats, 2 or 4 frame perfect inputs, specific impact points, specific spins, specific clubs, whether I'm using a power shot or not, which you get by pressing B on your shot, and also a specific miss hit, rather. So either the sweet spot or otherwise. Those are all frame perfect things that I'm trying to keep track of at the same time, and they are consistent per pin location. So now that you know what a strat is, now that you've seen a couple of them there, some really good ones actually, I will talk about the RNG in this game. All aspects of RNG are reactable. So when I make my shot, there's nothing hidden. It's everything that I can choose to control. As long as I can play frame perfectly, we are all good in that. So pin locations are first. In the first 3 courses in the game, you can have 2 pin locations per hole. They will always be the same 2 and randomly decide between the 2. Okay, nice. There's one more. Pretty solid Lakitu right here. If I get enough strats, I can actually skip 3 different holes and still meet the cutoff, which is what we do in world record attempts. Very nice. So I clubbed down really rapidly to the putter there. I have to hit a shot before I give up the hole, and I get the triple par penalty there. Triple par penalty just basically means that a par 5 gives you a 15-stroke penalty. That means you get +10 because that's 10 strokes over par. So I calculate that into the score I need to win the tournament, and I can see if I can safely give up holes so that we can go much faster. And that's Lakitu done. I haven't even been able to explain everything about the game yet. We're already through the first course. So if you use a memory card for this run, right here you can see, we actually just skip the award ceremonies between each course. It's about 7 seconds faster depending on your memory card. Alright, so after the pin locations, we have wind and rain. You may have noticed there was no wind on that first course whatsoever. And that's what allows us to do most of those strats, because we do not have wind affecting the ball. Wind is going to prevent strats from happening, so they get far less common in the later courses coming up. The next thing is rain. Rain does a few things to my shot that I'll explain next time it comes up, if a commentator will remind me. And then lastly, I want to talk about Shot distance variation. Shot distance variation, if you've been looking at Toad in the bottom right corner of your screen, there you'll see a plus or minus number there. And what that means, you can think of that -1 right there next to Toad as basically my shot going 1% less far than it would have. It's dependent on what your ball is sitting on, so rough or fairway, and whether or not the lie is bad, which I'll talk about as well. And that gives you a range of numbers that can show up there. They show up the moment you select your power. So you have up to a second, possibly, to react to that value that shows up on your screen. And that's one of the most advanced things that a speedrunner of this game can learn and master. And, of course, I mentioned lies. That's not really RNG. It's kind of pseudo-RNG, because they are predetermined in this game, but unless you hit the same exact shot every time, you will not get the same exact lie. You have to hit the same shot. There can't be wind. It has to be the same wind. So there's really no way in RTA runs that we can react to lies, except for in the first course where we have no wind. So yeah, that's about all aspects of the shot and RNG that I'm constantly reacting to that I wanted to explain. I made a boo-boo here. Long, difficult putt. Oh, and a bounce on top of that. Unfortunate, dude. No way I can react to that. So yeah, hopefully that wasn't lost on all of you. This game is incredibly complex. I'll make it seem that way. It'll be like a physics lesson at first, but I promise you will get eased into it after time. So on the second course, Cheap Cheap Falls, quite beautiful. The cutoff is +4, so a little more difficult than the first course, but still not very bad. The wind will get up to 2 meters per second, which is 3 miles per hour. And yeah, we'll just be cruising through. If I am perfect on this course, meaning I don't miss a single birdie, which is already not the case, unfortunately, I can skip 2 par 5s in this course. That's not very marathon safe, but I can adjust my route accordingly, depending on how I'm doing on each course. So as soon as I miss a birdie or I get something extra, I can change my route because I know the cutoffs are consistent. I only need to tie them to win, and that allows me to mix my route up and skip different holes than I otherwise would have.
Nice birdie. Very well done. Nice shot.
Nothing too difficult about this course overall. I'm just trying to play as fast as I can, and that's probably where I will make my mistakes. You may see me club up rapidly a few times and then hit a shot that's like a percentage of power. Ooh, actually we got rain on a hole here. This is very good. If one of you would do the honors.
Rain.
Nice shot.
It,
Nice on. Birdie putt.
it can impact like
Very well.
a few things on your shot, like it'll make it go not the ball go not quite as far, and also like if you put a slice or a fade on your ball, that will
Nice on.
impact how much
Birdie putt.
how much impact that actually has on your shot, and it won't have as much of an impact.
Right. Thank you, Jonesy.
Yes.
There are a couple other things rain does as well. So, like Jonesy said, it will, if your shot curves at all, which is what we call draws or fades, these are curves that characters naturally hit. So Waluigi hits a shot that curves out to the right and then back toward the normal line in the center. If you don't do anything to it, that fade is, or that is called a draw rather, not a fade. If it curves out to the left, like some other characters do, that is called a fade. So Waluigi hits a natural draw, and what Jonesy was saying there is in the rain, that draw actually does not... You can think of it as the rain buffeting the ball in the air. The physics in this game are pretty astounding. And when the rain is hitting the ball in the air, it actually doesn't allow it to return to the normal line. So it'll swing out to the right a little bit, and then it won't be able to make it back because the rain's hitting it. Pretty cool physics there. So that was what Jonesy was bringing up there, very well said. There are actually more things rain does, it's very complex. One of the things that casual players will notice first is that it slows down your putt quite a lot. You actually have to add a variable amount of power to a putt in the rain because it basically makes the green and any other surface have a lot more friction to it, so the ball slows down much more rapidly. So usually you want to add about 150% power to your putt in the rain, so you would hit a 4-meter putt, or about 15 feet or so. You would hit that 6 meters, or about 22 feet. Quick maths. And then one other thing that rain does that's a little more subtle is it reduces the loft of your shot, which is how high your shot goes. Different characters also hit different lofts naturally. So Waluigi hits it about in the center there, Mario hits it a little higher, Birdo hits it a little higher. So different characters have different aspects of their shots like that. But in the rain, Waluigi's shot will go a little bit lower than it otherwise would have, so you have to account for it if you're going to go over objects like these trees.
Nice shot.
Not sure if that's going through. Ooh, I did hit a tree, but we're not OB, so it's okay. I'll be skipping the last hole here. Whoa. This is a unique shot.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
Okay, rather interesting hole 17. But enough score for me to skip the last hole, so I'm really happy with that. Just do a quick give up here, and we'll go into the next course, Shifting Sands. Already on course number 3 of 6.
New course unlocked.
Nintendo.
As for Shifting Sands, we'll have a cutoff of +3. So I already had a score of +3 on that last course, not too bad. There is a shortcut on one of the par 5s that will allow me to eagle it consistently. And in a world record speedrun of this game, I would be going for every birdie on every hole, as well as that hole 7, which is the hole it happens on, the eagle on that hole.
Nice shot.
One interesting feature of Shifting Sands is because it's a desert,
Birdie putt. Nice birdie.
rain is a lot less likely on any of the holes 2 through 17. On this course, it would happen. The chance of happening is about 1 in 16, whereas in any other course it's 1 in 4.
Right. Yeah, so the developers, they paid attention to climate, which is pretty cool, because I'm a meteorologist myself, so I am appreciative of that.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
So yeah, the wind goes up a little bit higher here. It's not too much to worry about, but I will have to look at it to make sure I'm not making a grave mistake. The improv after the first course gets a lot stronger, and I need to be on top of my game, my ball game, if you will, for every shot that I do here.
Birdie putt. Nice birdie.
So if you want to read some donations now, maybe 3 or so, will be very good.
Absolutely. We have $100 from SpyFox26 saying, no better person to show off the craziness Mario Golf has to offer. The whole community wishes you luck, Blue. And a big thanks to GDQ Wowee.
Wowee indeed. Thank you, Spy.
Also $20 from Ryan that says $20 for that beautiful dunk shot.
Nice bird.
Yes,
Yes,
get those
awesome.
20s in. Let's go.
Woo!
This is unusual. Usually I play with the driver on this hole, but I didn't quite switch to it, so we have to do some of that improv. We'll sink the chip in there very haphazardly, but it did go in.
Nice.
Golf claps in chat for that one. Very nice. Respectable. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Nice shot.
Alright, so here's that shortcut I was talking about. Very nice. I did get the further pin location, which is a little more difficult to deal with, but I can stick the green here to get an eagle putt, potentially. I did not land on the upslope part of that green, though, so we'll have to chip instead.
Nice shot.
And, of course, I hit a slope on the way down, because I am in a very inconvenient spot.
Nice bird.
Not quite as easy of a chip as it looks. I did my best, though. Don't worry, I didn't expect to skip 2 par 5s on this course. That is very difficult.
Nice shot.
For a while, no one had ever done it. I think I'm actually gonna land on the rough here. We're just right next to it, okay. Mini chips coming out right now. Hopefully I can sink some of them, but of course greens are very difficult to read. Many people think that putting is the most difficult part of this game, and they are definitely correct. But chipping also plays a role in that because you are messing with the green. And if you don't know those greens in and out, that geometry like the back of your hand, you're gonna have a difficult time chipping.
And like chipping in itself is a very like
On.
it's a very important but also like difficult part of the game, even though the shots are pretty short, and there's sort of multiple ways to go about like how you adjust your shot while chipping. Like some people prefer using the impact point of your ball, whereas
Nice on. Birdie bird.
or some people like to add a slice or a hook by either by either timing their second input of their shot a bit early or a bit late.
Right, so there's many things like just the usual
Excellent.
options for controlling your shot that you have, like spins. There's a few different play styles that have risen over the time that people stick to, whether they decide to use spins to control their chip-ins primarily, or more on the end of impact point and miss hits, which is what I do. But there are some very respectable speedrunners of this game that they use spins only and no impact point changes, which is really incredible. I've never been able to master that style of play myself, so shoutouts to Zircon Eagle for that.
Nice bird. Very well done.
David, if you want to talk about camera angles, that would be fantastic.
Oh, sure. So, every time Blue putt, there's always going to be a certain camera angle that he gets. And usually, even before the putt goes in, we can tell whether the ball is going to go in, because there are just certain camera angles that like 99.9% of the time will tell you that you've gone in. And then there are also camera angles that will tell you that you probably did not get it in, which is always a scary thing to see.
Right. Yeah, there are some very relieving camera angles, and there are some that they tell you you've done something royally incorrectly. So we don't want to see any of those coming around, but they will tell me if I went OB or in the water or something like that. Something bad. We don't want to see it. You don't like to see that. I saw someone in the chat ask if GBA characters are allowed in this game. they are actually, or in the speedrun rather, they're actually not allowed in any main category speedrun nor speed golf leaderboards, which we also have on our speedrun.com page. We do have, we don't really keep track of it, but we do have, there are options to do dry runs, we call them, using GBA characters, and the reason it's because they're super OP, basically. To hit over 600 yards with those characters when they are fully juiced out. So obviously that's not going to be conducive to a competitive speedrun that starts from a new game save file, which is what we're doing here. So we don't have access to any of the stronger forms of each character or all of the unlockable characters, which we'll talk about later.
So yeah, you may have not even been noticing this, but at the end of every hole, if Blue gets a birdie or better, he unlocks what's called a best badge, and we've actually been trying to get 50 best badges during this run, because doing so will allow us to unlock a new character, which we will actually be using for the rest of the run after we get 50. So you'll see right here, he just got his 45th, so we're only 5 away from unlocking that secret character, we'll say.
Yeah. But don't spoil it. If you know that special character at 50 birdie badges, you will unlock one of the 4 unlockable characters in this game. And something to note about unlockable characters are that they come automatically with their star form. So we have one more course of Waluigi here that we'll go through. And the unlockable characters come with their star form. Star form in this game usually is unlocked through doing versus matches, character matches against predetermined AI. So usually they start out pretty, well, they do start out pretty bad, and then they get a little more formidable as they go. And that is how you usually unlock star form of characters, which basically means they become a glass cannon form of themselves. You get more power and you trade it for less control. Every frame mistake that you make will have a greater impact on what happens to your shot. So a 1 frame slice that I do with normal Waluigi is going to be far less deteriorating than a 1 frame slice with Star Waluigi. Also, one thing you might have seen on this course that I forgot to mention right off the bat is that fast fairway. That is the bluer fairway you'll see in this middle of other spanses of fairway. If your ball lands on that, you get super momentum, is the best way to put it. The effect of the ball landing and the momentum it has is basically amplified quite nicely. And you can use that to your benefit, or it will be your detriment. It will be your downfall, rather. And so it amplifies the effects of spins because those change the momentum of your ball. And so usually I'll be using it to my advantage, but sometimes I'll be avoiding it. In Blooper Bay, we have a cutoff of +2, so a little closer. Have to pay a little more attention here. This is the hardest course, in my opinion, to speedrun. Lots of people struggle with Bowser Badlands, but Blooper Bay is personally my least favorite, even though the soundtrack is pretty good. And golf claps in chat, thank you very much. I'm not sure about this +1, it's going to send me way over yonder. Well, this is never going to work.
Is there any situation where you wouldn't want to use Waluigi in one of the first 4 courses?
Good point, Jonesy. Thank you. In my history of speedrunning this game, which I have been speedrunning this for about almost 4 years now, I have actually used multiple different characters and routes the reason why we use Waluigi, I actually forgot to mention at the start. I just wanted to say we use Waluigi because that's the best part, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Also, here's the unlockable character. Were you correct? It's Boo, also known as Teresa in the Japanese version. Very cool. So that's a nice tidbit right there. But I did used to use different characters. The reason we use Waluigi right now is because his character animations are the fastest out of every character in the game. This is a bad shot. But his character animations are the fastest, so you can think of it this way. The minimum putting time for Waluigi is 63 frames, which is about a second in this game. In comparison, the third fastest character, Bowser, his putt takes 80 frames minimum. That means on every single putt that you do, you're losing about a quarter second just because of the character taking longer to putt. And Bowser is the third fastest at that, so the rest of the cast, it just degrades pretty significantly from there. So rightfully so, Waluigi is the fastest, but Birdo is the second fastest and not too far away from Waluigi. She boasts a slightly higher shot, which we actually don't know if that loses time or not. Over Waluigi, there has not been conclusive testing on whether or not she loses time based on the loft that she hits for her shot. But either way, I did used to use Birdo for shifting sands, and I also used Luigi at some point for Lakitu Valley, the first course, and I've also routed this course with Bowser, which would be a complete nightmare trying to control his shot. And the haphazard greens that you see everywhere here in the fast fairway. He does not have very good control, so I would be suffering quite a bit.
Nice chip.
Thank you. Respectable.
Even though the chips are pretty small distances, you still have to account a lot for wind. Even the short distances, the wind will still very much affect the ball and the short chips.
Yeah, even for something like 5 yards, I have to pay attention to the wind if it's significant enough. And on this course, it does get pretty significant. 4 meters per second, it is about 10 miles per hour. So it will start to do some things to my shot if I do not play around it. So just like usual, at all times, that almost went in. I will be looking, while making my shot, I look at the wind, the pin location, I can see which pin I have, and I have them all memorized based on the distance from the tee. And then I'm also checking Toad in the bottom right screen of the screen there for shot distance variation, and also what lie I have on my ball. So I have a bad fairway lie right here. There's some dirt under the ball, and that's what that tells me. So I have to make sure I account for that, because that could mean worse RNG. That could mean the game decides to give me something different for my shot, like that 6-iron there. And it can also mean I just can't hit as far as I otherwise would have, so I have to change my plan.
Chip in.
Okay, very good.
Very well done.
Sweet.
There's definitely a lot you have to consider each time you're making a shot. It would be interesting to have something like an eye tracker or something for this game. See how your process for you and other runners. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought about having an eye tracker. I do want to get one that I feel like eye trackers are really good for rhythm games, and over time I've really thought of this game as a golf rhythm game at its heart. So I would be very happy to get an eye tracker for this, because there is a lot to look at here. I also wanted to mention, now that we're in the 4th course blooper, interesting RNG here. I think I still overplayed it, because this is going to send me launch. This should be an interesting putt. Don't think I made that. I did.
You take the long putts. Golf.
Let's go. Any putt over 10 meters for par or better, you'll see those sparkles show up. So that's a nice congratulatory feature from the game. Thank you very much, game. And yes, it's true, over time I do tune out the narrator that says nice shot and such. He helps a lot, but honestly, I don't want to dream about it, so I just tune him out.
The narration is quite good, but yeah, after
Yes.
just hearing it so many times, you just learn to drown it out.
I'm gonna take a risk here. This whole skip here is pretty difficult to do to maintain my birdies enough on blooper to skip 2 holes. That just means I have to birdie this last hole, so if I fail the birdie, well, we can actually do something that is a save and quit. And what that does is it allows me to just replay the hole from the beginning as if nothing has happened, giving me another chance at birdie and thus winning the tournament, because I could be throwing my tournament win away here. And we don't want to do that, because if we do that, then I won't unlock the next tournament, and the run will be in great peril.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
Pretty manageable putts, very good.
Nice bird.
So we'll finish tying for +2 to unlock Peach's Castle Grounds, the 5th course. And unfortunately, you will have to say bye to Waluigi here. I will be switching my character.
Nintendo! Camelot!
Boo, boo, boo,
Boo, boo, boo.
boo.
Thank you. That was so mean of you guys. Actually, you're correct. We're using Boo. As I mentioned before, the unlockable characters come automatically with their star forms unlocked, so we get to take advantage of that. It means I'm gonna have to control my shot quite a bit better, but I also get the added benefit of this extra distance, which means that I can hit eagles on the par 5s a little easier,
Chip in. Nice bird.
and also deal with some of the longer, more difficult holes on these last 2 courses. So I will be using Boo for both Peach Castle Grounds and also Bowser Badlands. That will help a lot. So Peach Castle Grounds, it has a cutoff of +1, a little more difficult yet again. If I'm perfect, I can skip a par 5 and 4. Whoa, almost got a dunk in there.
Birdie putt.
It's an interesting putt.
Nice bird.
Sometimes the green can fake you out with whichever way it's gonna roll. And I didn't actually get to mention it, but these last 3 courses I was going to say all have 3 possible pin locations now. They will always be the same 3, randomly picked between the 3, so they're each a 1 in 3 chance to see. And this is actually by far the worst one on this hole, the most difficult. So I had to hit the bottom of the ball a bit there in order to land successfully on the green. This does not look like a good camera angle. There's a fast fairway patch up there, which I actually did hit, but I got stuck in a bunker as well. So I don't think I can go for it. No, I can't. Alright. This hole was one of the most pivotal in a world record attempt because you can lose 10 seconds here just as easily as you can gain 10. It's one of the longest par 5s in the game. It requires some fast fairway abuse in order to eagle.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
There's also some special features on this course that you may have noticed already. If you want to explain that, Jonesy, feel free.
On the second hole, you may have noticed all around there was some rock pits that contain
Birdie putt.
some
Nice bird. Very well done.
some chain chomps and
Nice on. Birdie putt.
whenever running the game, you definitely want to avoid those
Well done.
at all costs, because one, if you end up stuck in the rock pit, they'll count as an out of bounds or OB. And also, there's a fairly lengthy animation of the bouncing on the rock, waking up the chain chomp, and it getting angry and like moving around to the ball. And also, fun fact, if you happen to hit the chain chomp, it'll turn red, look super angry, And one thing I should mention before the other features is that this is a particularly cool strategy Blue is going for here. You may have seen he panned the camera way left because what the game typically recommends you do is
Very well done.
that whole hole 8 was kind of like a spiral, and you're supposed to go up the spiral. But what Blue did is taking advantage of Blue's law. He just bypassed like all that and got a pretty easy, like very consistent eagle that if you're as good as he has, you can sometimes albatross. So going back to the course features, on hole 1, there was some upward facing pipes,
Very well done.
and you may have noticed like some were yellow or green, and if you go in one of those pipes, then you will come out of the other pipe that's the same color as the one that you went into. Or on hole 4, there's the horizontal pipes that don't have any warping properties. You can just like go through them and come out the other end.
Very well done.
And then lastly, if you notice like there's some patches of yellow on many holes in this course, and those are actually flower patches. And while it's ill-advised to go into them because they severely cut your distance, add a lot of potential RNG. If you do hit the flowers, you'll see a reference to another beloved Nintendo series. Maybe a few
Excellent. Birdie putt. Nice bird. Very well done.
Pikmin.
yes, that will pop out.
Right. A fun Easter egg that the game has. Developers were very playful with this one.
Yeah.
Holes in one are actually more common than albatrosses. The one that Jonesy mentioned there is pretty much the only one I'll get consistently in a run, if I'm lucky. It's the best chance I've got at one, but I actually did get more than one hole in one in this run already. So if you missed the beginning of the run, you might have to watch that back.
Nice shot.
Using the rock to my advantage here. I don't like this shot though, because I don't want to go in that blue pipe. That would be disastrous.
Nice on.
So again, to cut off the +1 here, I can skip some holes. I have plenty of birdies.
Bird.
Let's
Very
go.
well done.
I do not like this hole, especially in the rain. There's too many mushrooms which you will bounce, and bounce very far off of, so I'm going to avoid this in the rain. That is some disgusting RNG that I would not like to deal with.
Nice shot.
Okay, that first bounce on the fast fairway would have been also very bad. Very interesting golf happening right now. Oh boy, I hit that short. That is not what I wanted to do.
Thankfully it's a very black green.
Plus, point 13 is actually, on the flat surface, the closest you can get to going into the hole without actually going in the hole. So that is very trolly of you, game. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. That's very helpful to the speedrun. I swear, dude. Down to the centimeter, literally.
Nice shot.
So, +1 will be pretty easy to hit here. This hole is also another chance at an eagle, so I have more than enough opportunities to make up my score, but I did actually want to skip this one, and I would have been able to if I made that birdie on hole 16. And so, just just disowned me. Although this was a pretty good shot, so glad I got to show that off. One more course remaining. We have to get 0 even score or better on Bowser Badlands. There it is. We'll be using Starbu. This course is infamously difficult, but I will show you how to navigate it efficiently and effectively. Or at least I hope I will.
Got a second for some donations?
Absolutely.
All right, we have $25 from Cow Eyes. It says, Blue, after watching you for a couple years on your stream, I'm so thrilled to see you run on the GDQ stage. Thank you for running a game that means so much to me. Super proud of you. Wowee. And we do also want to mention really quickly that we still have that incentive open for the Golden Sun run, the Mialis Satoros fight. Now we still need about $12,000 for it. So if you've been keeping up with the strat challenge put out earlier, consider putting that toward the Mialis Satoros fight.
We could do more donations.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of that incentive, we do have a $25 donation from Baguettinator saying, Golden Sun has always been one of my favorite games, even though I never beat it as a kid. Here's to beating Satoros without Mia.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
And $50 from DePatman89 saying, had to donate during Camelot block, as I'm a big fan of the Mario Golf series and Golden Sun is one of my most replayed games. This is going toward fighting Satoros without Mia.
This is a pretty interesting par 5 here. Take advantage of this brick platform here in order to bounce off of it, stick the fairway, and get onto the green in 2. Hopefully netting me an eagle, which would help me very much in the early game of this course.
Nice eagle. Very well done.
So there's a in Bowser Badlands, there's a few additional obstacles we're gonna have to consider. So on this hole right here, you see the bomb in the back and also the booze in the front. So the booze, if your ball goes through the booze, it will slow the ball down considerably, which a lot of times will result in the ball going OB. So we want to avoid those as much as possible as well. And then the bomb, there's also a bomb right here, and we want to avoid those too. If your ball comes in contact with it, the bomb will explode and it will cause your ball to fly basically in whatever direction it was right before it got right after it got hit, which could potentially be good, but most of the time is not. So you want to watch out for those. And then here we have the this hole, we have the classic Mario 64 bumps, and what these will do is if your ball stops under the shadows of these enemies, it will come down on you, it'll swamp you, and it will give you the worst possible lie that your ball can have, which could make your next shot much harder to work with. So we will also be avoiding those enemies too.
Yeah, thwomps give you that fairway lie that will make your shot be plus or minus 8%. It also makes it tighter on frames, so you have lower leniency in your mishits, meaning a single frame will do a lot more damage. On this hole, I have some extremely bad wind, but I can show off a shortcut that goes up to this platform right here, providing I make it to the fairway, get a good lie, okay. And then we can come down here, all the way to the green. Very long shot down. Hopefully not overshooting it, but taking advantage of this headwind and getting real close to the pin there. Very nice. Perfect Badlands 8 with some really strong wind.
That was a really good hole 8.
That second shot on the hole 8 is one of those situations where whichever camera angle the game makes it very obvious if you made or missed that second shot.
Nice birdie. Very well done.
Alright. So we have one more back nine to go through here. Bowser Badlands, there's some notoriously difficult holes on both the front and back nine. The back nine is no joke, even though we'll be skipping a few of them due to a pretty good score here. Still, we'll have to deal with some shenanigans here.
Shot.
Okay, this is a good pin location, so I will take that. Score right now, I'll probably be able to skip a par 4 and 3, or a par 5 and 3 if I'm really lucky. I'm gonna need minus 16 to do that though, which means I pretty much have to be on pace to birdie everything, but the Eagles do help me out there. So that's really good.
Nice on. Birdie putt.
Best pin location on 11 too. The game is being kind right now.
Nice birdie.
Not sure how long that's gonna last, but here's hoping for better RNG through the end. Okay. It's not the best pin, I can tell based on where the game started me on this hole. If you're using the same character, you will get the same placement by the game, the same club, the same aim every single time off your tee shot. So you can use that as an indicator to tell when you have certain things. Just barely missed that putt, pretty complex. Still good though.
Nice on.
Comes another interesting strat where ball's gonna land right near a fence where he's gonna have to try to hit through it, which can be pretty difficult, and you have to really be careful on where you're placing your ball during this shot, but luckily he got it.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to land on the green while you're coordinating all that, so if you can just sink the chip, then no sweat there.
Very well done.
Okay,
Nice shot.
quick club up here, because the game thinks it's better to just go short of this rock fixture. Got a bad lie, so I'm probably going to do power forward instead. Maybe I shouldn't have put any top impact on the ball, but it looks like it still made it. I got stuck on the rough. Oh, I didn't. Then my putt is going to be a little more difficult. But nothing I can't handle. Let's go.
Nice birdie. Very well done.
Sweet.
Generally, I've come to prefer skipping this hole in runs, but I think I will play it right now so I can just be super confident on which of the remaining 3 holes after this I'm going to skip, although I did hit the brick just barely. Let's try a fairway putt here, why not? Ooh. Very close, dang it.
Almost. Very close.
Nice on.
Alright, so I think I'll skip the longest hole in the game, which is this one right here. That will take me down to -5. So if I can birdie the 17th hole, we do not have to play the last hole, but I'm totally fine with playing the last hole. So let's see what happens. Okay, do I hit his arm? I don't. Okay.
Well, one more hazard is the womp you just saw there. And if your ball lands in the shadow, you will
Nice on. Birdie putt.
fall over on it.
Nice birdie.
Hard putt there. Looks like we won't be
That was a
seeing the
good
last
putt.
hole. Easiest give up ever. Let's go.
Nice.
And that will seal the deal for Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. Any percent
Very well done.
Time on the memory card indicator.
time now, yeah.
More golf claps.
Nice run.
Yes. Nice
I'm liking
run.
it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's go, dude. Well, let me
That was
just
really
state.
good. That was
Thank you, David. Thank you, Jonesy. Thank you guys for something to commentate. I really appreciate it. I'd just like to give a few shout outs. Of
It's an
course.
honor.
No, it was an honor to have you. What the heck? You guys are crazy. As I mentioned earlier, I started speedrunning this 4 years ago. I started streaming. No intent to, stream anything but just having world record footage and hanging out if people wanted to. And now I am at a point where I'm applying for a Twitch partnership based on these niche speedruns that people seem to enjoy a lot. I also play Kirby Air Ride if that's your kind of game. That's the kind of stuff I do. It's lots of fun, and I can't believe that you guys have propelled me this far. So I wanted to say thank you to the Mario Golf Toadstool Tour community. I'd be nowhere without you. You are single-handedly, and along with my friends who have gotten me to this point. Thank you so much for that. And to return the favor, of course, I've always wanted to get this run into GDQ so that I could give back to the community. And to do that, I would love for you guys to follow the category on Twitch by clicking Mario Golf Toadstool Tour whenever you want. You can follow the category to see when anyone's speedrunning it goes live and hang out with them because they are awesome, epic people and some of my best friends on the internet. So I really appreciate you guys. If you guys have anything else to say.
Just thanks a lot to GDQ for giving us his awesome offer opportunity.
Anything from you, David?
Yeah, if you have any interest in this game for whatever reason, we have a Discord for you to join, and don't hesitate to reach out to Blue or anyone in the community if you're interested in running this game at all. We'd all be more than happy to help you.
Yep, of course. Yeah, just the last thing to mention, we have had EasyScape partner with this game to host raffles and give prizes out to people. We have a bounty going for the 80% world record currently that is completely community funded. If that sounds interesting to you, that's just a part of how awesome this community is. So please feel free to check all of those things out. Thank you again to GDQ. If you're matching me in those strat donations, 20 each, we did get 3, so that is $60 I will be donating myself. Again, thank you so much. Let's continue the marathon on, see these epic runs, and have good luck to the rest of the runners. Thank you so much for having me. Peace out.
Thank you very much, Blue, for that incredible Mario Golf Toadstool Tour run. Also, we have a $50 donation here from Japaner saying, let's go for Mialis Satoros. Now, we did get over $3,000 toward that incentive, but in order to complete that incentive, we've still got a ways to go. So make sure you get those donations in for Mialis Satoros. And with that, that is going to do it for me, for my friends, for this Awesome Games Done Quick 2021 online. It's been an awesome job getting to be your host. I'm going to hand it over to Argic, who will be your host for the Golden Sun Run. Have a tremendous day, everybody.
All right, thank you for that one. Oh, you did an absolutely fantastic job there. Watching that Mario Golf run was absolutely fantastic and absolutely great hosting blog there. I am Argic, everybody. I will be joining you for this next amazing run that we've got coming up here. It is Golden Sun, an absolutely golden run. Fingers crossed to Plexa that the RNG is kind, and we've got a lot of love in these donations here coming through for the Golden Sun, and of course, that Mialis Satoros incentive as well. We have got a $25 donation from Hipster Benches saying, I've always wanted to see Golden Sun run at a GDQ. Donation goes to the Mialis Satoros incentive. I don't know why anyone would willingly make that fight tougher, but I need to see it. We've also got a $25 donation from Full Metal Adept here that's like, glad to see Golden Sun finally at a GDQ. Let's get that Mialis Satiros. I'm so glad it's at GDQ as well, because like this is such a good run, honestly. We are in for a treat, you know. We've also got a $10 donation here from Stormblessed, who is saying, Golden Sun is one of my favorite games of all time, and I started running it recently. Shout outs to the Golden Sun speedrunning Discord. Let's get a donation train going for $500,000, and excited to put that donation towards the Mialis Satiros fight. Well, we've already hit that $500,000. In fact, we are sitting at 510,848. Well, no, it just went up. There we go. It's going up even more. It's up at $511,043 now. But let's keep those donations coming in. We are raising money for PCF, the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and we've got an update on that Mialis Satiros incentive as well. We do have about 55 minutes to get that in from the run starts. We are sitting here right now. We have from now until about 55 minutes in the run. We are currently at $3,108 out of the $15,000 that is needed to get that fight. I know we can do it. We all love some Golden Sun. We all love ARG trying to do numbers and making them wrong. Come on, folks. We can definitely do it. Let's get that $5 donation train going. Let's get that Mialis Satiros fight going. Let's hype up this run, you know? And we're just going to keep this love going, folks. We've got many, many donations coming in from this. We got a $25 donation from Albanor saying, so glad to finally see Golden Sun run at AGDQ. This has been one of my favorite series, and it's so fulfilling to see it destroyed every time. We need more, so let's meet the incentives. Good luck, Plexa, and may the Kraken God be sleepy. I'll give another $25 if he doesn't cooperate. Now, while we are getting ourselves set up for this one, we are going over for a quick break. Everybody get yourselves a drink. We are gonna get ready. And welcome back to AGDQ 2021 online, powered by Twitch. Everyone, are you ready for some Golden Sun? We are ready to go. Let's hand it over to Plexa.